everybody. Welcome today to our Squared Co-working podcast. I'm Lisa Bryan, and I am joined today from upstairs in our building, Blake Isaacs, and he's going to talk a little bit about his business today and about our co-working space. So thank you so much for joining today on this podcast. Can you tell me a little bit about your business here in the building?
Well, yes, and thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah,
It's good to be here. The business that I have is called Idaho Hydrotech. Hydro meaning, of course, water. So we have a technology that we use water to clean air. It's a hard thing to do, but we've figured out how to do it, and we've got 3 patents now on the technology. And so what we do is we make machines that clean the air and add humidity for a very specific narrow range of applications at this point. So in particular, potato storage. Almost all of the products that we've sold, with a couple of interesting exceptions, have been sold into a potato storage application. And the reason is because in potato storage, the potatoes are stored for many months, and they're susceptible to not only shrinkage, but diseases. And some of the nastiest diseases are molds, and molds spread through the air by sending airborne mold spores. And so our machine circulates the air using the air path that's built into these storages. And as it does so, it removes the airborne mold spores. So it gives farmers a tool to prevent the spread of mold. So whatever mold does come in through the field, it spreads a lot less when they use our machines. And we've got customers now in 11 states in the U.S., in 3 Canadian provinces, and now 4 countries in Europe, mostly Northern Europe.
Wow, that's incredible. You were just, when you were explaining it, you were talking about patents. Tell me a little bit about what that means and how that came to be.
Well, okay, yeah, patents, that's a lot of work. My background is engineering, and so I had about 10 patents before I started working on these ones.
Wow.
So I was familiar with the process. And we actually, when I came and took over the business, we already had 1 patent and a new one issued. My dad founded the company, and he did some of that work himself. The more recent patent, in fact, it just issued last October. And for that one, we also applied for protection in Europe because we've opened up the European market, and we're on track to get that a European patent for that as well. Yeah, it's a difficult process. We use a patent attorney. We do as much of it as we can ourselves. There's a lot of engineering work and more documentation of that engineering work than you would do if you were just engineering and trying different prototypes. So then you have to find a patent attorney with the capability to work through the process of getting the patent issued. It's not just a question of writing it well. It's a question of sending it into the patent office in the proper way. And then months after you do that, often a year and a half or more after you do that, then the patent office will come back and say, here's why we can't issue the patent. They almost always do that.
Wow. And
then the attorney's job, working with us again, is to overcome those objections and then work through, they call it office action phase. And then eventually you get that. This patent took us almost 3 years from start to finish, and quite a bit of money, in legal fees. There are fees to file the patent with the patent office, but those are small compared to the legal fees that we pay the attorneys to help us do it.
Wow, that's amazing. Such dedication to the process to be able to get that through and to follow up. So when we're talking about business, a lot of what we've been talking about is entrepreneurship and to starting out business. How do you feel about that, or what things have you found as your company has been growing?
Wow. There's certainly been surprises. I've been doing this business for about 6.5 years now. Well, let's see, no, it's just over 7 years now. And the biggest surprises, I think, have been that even though the product works very well and the value proposition is very strong, that is to say, the value, the cost of the product is a lot less than the benefits of the product over, or even 1 year, but certainly 2 years in most cases. Even though we can demonstrate that value proposition, there's a lot of skepticism in the market, because anytime there's something new, people are naturally skeptical. So we sell to these farmers, and the farmers are, there's a lot of people out there trying to sell a lot of different things to farmers. And there's, in many cases, those things are not what they claim to be, not well tested. And so there's a healthy skepticism out there. And so to break through some of that, we were able to get some grant money from the state of Idaho to pay Idaho State University's biology department to test our products to see how well they remove mold spores from the air. And in fact, they do. They virtually remove all mold spores from the air. And so we've been able to leverage that to break through the skepticism a bit. But even then, the business has been more challenging in some ways than I expected, but it is growing. And I think we're finally getting past the, let's call it the initial skepticism, or the chasm between early adopters and the mainstream market. And so that's pretty exciting. Another thing that we've learned, though, is, and that's even more exciting, is that the benefits that we provide and the challenges that these farmers face are even greater in Europe in most cases than they are in the U.S. And so this has become an emphasis for us, and we've got a lot of really good things happening there.
That's great. One of the things that is essential for co-working and for building business, I think, is the networking. Do you find that has been beneficial here in the building? What kind of connections have you made here that have helped your business to grow?
Wow. I'll tell you, I was working with the Small Business Development Center a little bit when I was looking to move my office from Blackfoot to somewhere in Pocatello for other reasons, to simplify things. And the SBDC just suggested this as a possibility. So I came down here and met Dennis Pleisters for the first time, and really kind of hit it off with him. He's a great guy. And picked out an office and started paying rent, and never looked back. I mean, that was, I think, about 2.5 years ago now. And it's been a great and evolving relationship. So it wasn't long after I started renting office space here that I met Dennis's investment partner, who's also Belgian, and his name is Jeff Viana. And he took an interest in what I'm doing. And I met him at a networking event that was set up by Station Square. And we met on a Wednesday or something like that. And by that weekend, we had spent a lot of time together and signed a letter of intent for him to help distribute the products in Europe. And that relationship has really blossomed, and the business has grown. Most of our business last year, after the second half of last year, was actually in Europe. And right now we're instead of air freighting things 2 at a time, we're doing the math on how many of our machines we can fit in one shipping container. So
Wow.
maybe it's more like 15 or 20 at a time. And so the business is really growing, and none of that would have happened without the co-working kind of networking that I feel very fortunate to just kind of have stumbled into, because I'm not really great at networking myself, but people like you guys and Dennis and other people around here have just handed me opportunities to meet the right people, and it's worked out very well for me.
That's amazing. And I think that's a testament just right there about how essential networking really is, and how important it is to be able to meet together and have a location where people can come and share ideas and information.
Yeah, it is, and it's easy to underestimate that, or to not think about it. But what I've found is that, and and I've given some examples of that, but there are many more. You don't know what you need to, I don't know, how do you say this? You don't always know what you need from people, but then the ideas and the synergy of just having a conversation generates ideas for how to make things better to accomplish my goals. And so it's like it's almost like mentoring that you get for free. And hopefully I've been able to help some other people out too. I mean, I want to give back, but you get more out of it than you expect to, I guess, pretty consistently. Just in meeting new people and working with people and sharing ideas and exchanging, the synergy is great. And so when you're a very small business like mine, I've got a number of people I work with, but when you expand that circle of influence, then you can get more of a synergy going and a sense of teamwork, even if these people aren't, part of your business. And it's been great.
Yeah, I love that statement that, through networking, it's like building a larger team that may not always be on their payroll, but you can bounce those ideas off of and help solve problems and find solutions that you didn't know how to solve because you have other people around. I think that's amazing. So as your business is growing, I know that we have one of your machines here in the building. So what are some of the other elements that you're looking at to be able to expand into the future?
Thanks for mentioning that. There's one of our machines, we call them humigators. We've got one running in the building. It has been since last July. So this is about 7 months now, a little over 7 months that it's been running. I checked on it yesterday. It's running along just fine. And what it's doing is it's cleaning the air and removing not just pathogens like mold spores, but also allergens and dust from the air, and adding a little bit of humidity, which is a very good thing, especially this time of year when the air is cold outside. The air inside is very dry, and so we're boosting the humidity a little bit. So the air is a lot healthier in the building. Well, okay, there's a lot more to healthy air than just fresh potatoes, right? So one of the big differences between that machine that's running the building and the one that we sell into potato storage is that it's a lot quieter. It's almost quiet enough, and this is one of the things that we were concerned about as we built that and deployed it in this test. And so we're learning from that. So it's very much an alpha test for the idea of making a version of the machine that creates a filterless air cleaning humidifier for other applications. Where people work, eventually where people live, is the idea. So we're just it's a very nascent idea at this point. We're just kind of nurturing and trying some things. But Station Square has been tremendous in helping us, in providing that opportunity to deploy a machine and test it out in this way. And I think the test is going quite well. So we're optimistic about where that might lead us. In fact, our partners in Europe are very interested in getting at least one of those to go do the same thing and expand into that market at some point soon.
Wow, to me, that's just amazing to have all of those things kind of coming and opportunities coming as you're growing and seeing all of the different elements come together. And I get to witness a tiny, tiny piece of that. And that's been exciting for us here in the building to watch that process and watch those things happen and see the growth.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. The idea is it's a very ambitious one, right? We have an established business that's growing nicely in potato storage. And one of the reasons that to talk about the technology a little bit in a way that can be future or interesting for the future, what it does is, because it's an industrial application, it's a very high dust environment. You could think about using filters to clean the air, but it's very impractical in a high dust environment, certainly any industrial environment, and certainly that includes potato storage. So you could filter the mold spores out of the air using filters, but you'd be changing those filters every day. So it's really impractical. But now, since we've created something that says, okay, you can clean the air including mold spores, bacteria, even viruses, right? And we care about airborne viruses these days. And you can do that without a filter. And optimize humidity, all with one machine. You can really think about, when we're feeling really ambitious, you can think about the idea of creating a new HVAC system that's based on this technology and completely eliminate filters from it. So that's something in the long term. We want to leverage the success we're having in this potato storage business to really pursue quite aggressively. So I expect some acceleration of that path in the next year.
Wow. It just is so exciting to be able to hear all of the things and where you're going and all the ideas that are coming from you. So if there are people that were to come to you and say, I'm thinking about joining the co-working space, should I, or is that, what are the benefits? What would you tell them?
Well, I would certainly say, some of the things I've said here, for me, it's been very positive. It gives me, there's synergy. There's a sense of teamwork. Sometimes you're not, you don't have your A game, but you show up anyway, and then you just have a conversation that you didn't expect to have with someone who's excited about what they're doing, and that you can take some of that energy and then apply it to what you're doing, even if it's not topical to your business. And so it's just great to have, the positive vibe of this place is contagious, and it's great to have that, especially as like I said, as a guy who does much of my work kind of in the corner by myself, and I go for a walk and there's somebody to talk to, and it's more fun, and who knows what ideas come from it. So hopefully that's a win-win for everybody else, but it's certainly a win for me.
Yeah, that's great. That's one of the things I love about it too, is coming and being able to draw off that energy and talk to people and feel their excitement and watch the growth, and then get excited for my own growth and my own opportunities to move forward in my own business. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we really want to thank Blake for coming today and to sharing his insights with us. We're so excited for where you're going and all of the opportunities for your business. And we hope that you join us again on our next Squared podcast that will be coming up here shortly. And we're going to leave it with letting you know to come and get squared.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.